God. You know, I came out here to say something, and a lot of people came for me. Yeah, a lot of people came for me, but I really do not care whenever people are coming for me because I know what to say. Now, let it make sense to me that a married man and a widow, we actually have this kind of moments on a national TV, on a platform where you know that a lot of people are watching. And the last time I checked, your position right now is supposed to be that you are still mourning your beloved husband. But yeah, just to make the name of the Lord be praised, you came out to praise another man's husband. And after you praise him, the next thing is a lovely hug. I don't know why this particular hug sits so well with a lot of people, but it didn't really sit well with me, and it didn't really sit well with some white folks, black folks, any folks at all. And that is why I'm actually bringing this video so that we can actually watch and let me know your honest opinion in the comment section. Please do not comment if you don't watch to the end, because that is where you will hear people's opinion and know exactly what you also need to tell me. Because if you think I'm wrong, school me, right? School me. But anyways, let's get right into this video first.
Hello and good evening. In another episode of As the White Hood Turns, let's talk about Couch Boy and Mrs. Deceased. So you know they had an event at Ole Miss, right? And Couch Boy was the keynote speaker at this event. Now, I don't know if y'all have seen some of the pictures from the event, in particular the ones with Mrs. Deceased hugging Couch Boy. I'm not one to gossip. I'm not. But there are a lot of people out there saying, secret lovers. That's what they are. Now, I don't know. But if y'all done seen the picture, I'm going to try to insert it. Of her hugging Couch Boy, Mrs. Deceased hugging Couch Boy. It looked very suspicious. Anywho, while he was giving his little speech up there, he talked about Slotus, his wife. The chaise lounger. Let's just call her the chaise lounger. Anywho, he said that he's a Christian, and one day he hopes that she decides to join him on his walk in Christianity and Christian faith, and that they're raising their children Christian. But, she still has her Hindu faith. But one day he hopes that she will join him on the path of righteousness to Jesus. So, of course, the conspiracy theories that there's trouble in paradise for Mrs. Shays, and that Mrs. Deceased and Couch Boy, secret lovers, that's what they are. Now, allegedly, supposedly, for entertainment purposes only, and y'all did not hear any of that from me. Okay, bye.
Putting your hands in a man's hair when you hug him, that is a very intimate thing to do. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about that, it's because we're talking about the hug heard around the world. And everyone was trying to comfort JD Vance by showing this image where he had his hand on his hip. But if you watch the video, this is not what it looks like. His hand brushed, like, he's not the problem here. This is what I have a problem with. Girl, what are you doing? Now, I went and visited my old job last week or a week or two ago, and I saw some of my old coworkers who were men, who I was close with. They were like my friends. And when I saw them, it had been a while, so I gave them hugs. And I started thinking to myself, if I had, put my hands on the back of their heads when I hugged them, how inappropriate. They would have been like, whoa, what the fuck? I don't know. Dude, Usha, girl, you're in danger. She's with the leather pants and the crop top. I would be upset if someone did that to my husband or boyfriend. I'm just saying.
The reason we should care about this photo is because I think that they're trying to publicly destabilize the idea that interracial, interfaith, and intercultural relationships and marriages are normal. And I say this because I saw a couple people saying, like, why does this matter? Why does this matter? Because of the context of it all. Right now, Jay, which is what we're going to call him, is going around saying that we don't need any more immigrants in this country, as well as asking his wife to now convert her religion, which they've been married for a number of years. So it's kind of random that all of a sudden he would be asking, damn near demanding, and kind of publicly shaming her on this. She hasn't had to change herself throughout all of his runs, which is important because his boss, Jay's boss, is the type of person who he demands that people capitulate to him and change everything about themselves for him. And that's kind of why we see all of the women around him take on a very particular aesthetic. But that's also not her, right? Even other women who are lawyers, maybe not as well decorated or respected, they fall to whatever Jay's boss's desire is for their makeup, which is like that heavy makeup, long extensions, so on and so forth. That doesn't seem to be Usha. And again, I just want to point out, like, she is very well respected, it seems, in her field as being a lawyer. She served for 2 Supreme Justices. Yes, it was Kavanaugh and Thomas, but like that's still a very big deal, especially for a woman of color, especially for the child of immigrants. Not only that, but she could have been a fashion icon in her own right, a political fashion icon, which is a very dicey thing right now too, because then that would mean we would be pedestaling someone who is of color. Oh my goodness. Which actually brings me back to here, or specifically here. I think that he's going to use this as a jumping point to say that there are cracks in their relationship and issues within it. I think that they are going to use this relationship, this grieving widow who turned to this family. They are currently all still married, currently all still living together, to find a family and solace. And during this time, he realized that their faith brought them together too. That is why he's asking Usha to change her faith now. And we're going to get more pictures like this. Them looking dreary, separated, a little bit confused, maybe a bit pensive, annoyed, maybe not at each other because they're not looking at each other. They're looking off in the distance and they could really be looking at anything. But the picture is going to convey a lot. And if this was a Shonda show, it would be reasonable to think that maybe she would not be on the season. Sorry, Jay's wife would no longer be on the season. And that they would come together as a grieving widow and a widower who seem to really understand each other's pain, understand each other's faith. And lo and behold, before we know it, they start dating. If they start dating, I give it 9 months before they're married. And he will be toting those kids around like they are his own. He will do interviews and press conferences talking about how much better it is that they come from the same background. He will talk about all of the hardships that he faced dealing with being married in an interracial, interfaith, intercultural relationship. He will talk about the strength and the bond of his new wife in such an interesting way. And then his wife, his second wife, will go on to make jokes at his first wife's expense in some form or fashion that will be seen as distasteful, but their audience will eat it up like a spoon to ice cream. And also, she would be able to fill the gap that Ivanka has left. I'm going to call her Ivy. Ivy has not been here for the second run, and she has not been here for the second term, nearly in the same way she was previously. People have speculated it's because, you know, she was kicked out of socialite circles in New York. Other people have speculated that she's on the list in more than one way. I don't know what it is. I just know she's not there. And so that this builds a bridge for that Gen X, millennial, and like older Gen Z to see lifestyle content, because those types of women are looking towards her right now, right? They see her as this like strong widow who, you know, nothing can keep her down, and the message continues forward. She's girl bossing, but they don't see it as that because she's talking about family. It's like the conversation about trad wives, and people don't understand the difference between an actual trad wife and someone who just likes to cook for their husband. But I digress. That's not what this is about. They will preach that they have seen the light, and they will preach that other people follow it, and they will preach that getting rid of the option of interracial, intercultural, and interfaith marriages is the best thing to do and the best thing for America.
Have y'all seen what being vice president has done to J.D. Vance's wife? For reference, this is right after the election. This was her giving one of her first speeches as the second lady. But recently she's looking a little bit weathered, and this is less than a year. And it seems like the stress of the whole situation is catching up to her. Now keep in mind, this woman is only 39 years old. I mean, it's got to be somewhat tough being married to a man who keeps defending white supremacy. Not to mention, they have children together, and these kids look like the type of profile that ICE would probably stop and try and deport. And if we continue down this path of fascism, I don't see this getting any better for her or her kids. In fact, I would be very surprised if MAGA would accept J.D. Vance based on the fact that his family looks like they do. They can accept it from a vice president, kind of, but a president? I don't see it happening. There will be people pissed off at J.D. Vance that he married outside of his own race. And none of those people will be from the left. I, for one, feel bad for Usha because I don't think she realized what she was getting into with him. Because the vice presidency was kind of thrusted upon JD. I don't think that he was expecting to be in that position anytime soon. Now that he is, he's gone from, I'm a never Trump guy, to, I'm going to be mean to as many people as I can in public. Hey, Zelensky, I know that you're at war, but did you say thank you to Trump? I didn't hear it. Yeah, I read those text messages where those kids said that rape is epic and that they really love Nazis and stuff like that. But I mean, they're kids. They're just blowing off steam. Forget the fact that they're like over 30. But if you said anything bad about Charlie Kirk, I'm going to make sure you lose your job. I'm sure that JD was somewhat more progressive once upon a time, but he kind of sold his soul off to become vice president or to become eventual president. He's a puppet for Peter Thiel, and I think eventually this is just going to put a breaking point on his relationship with his wife and probably eventually kids. But you know what? If that happens to him, I'm not going to feel any empathy for him. I might feel bad for his wife and his kids, but I don't feel bad for JD. Now, I realize we don't see much of her because we don't really see second ladies that often. We don't really see the first lady hardly at all. But what do you think? Do you think this sudden thrust into the public eye has been rough on her? And if so, do you feel empathy for that? Or do we see her the way that we see Melania? Like, you knew what you were getting into, so don't feel bad. I don't know for sure, but I feel like this might be a little bit of a different situation.
I'm just going to go ahead and call it now. They are positioning them for a 2028 presidential run. The timing of his death is too convenient. Trump just came out the other day admitting that he would not be able to run for a third term. And let's keep it real, he's not going to live till 2028. You're looking at presidential candidate for 2028 Republican Party and vice presidential candidate. It's not good. It's not good.
What is Erica Kirk wearing? I don't want to seem all fake and gay, but does this seem like it's appropriate attire to be wearing? And does his hand placement seem appropriate for a widow? Maybe old Mikey McCoy is not giving her the attention that she deserves. It seems like a married man shouldn't have his hands on any woman's hips like that unless it's his wife. This is now his wife, by the way. Amazing what months of selling your soul can do. The light has been snuffed out of their eyes. Maybe she's just not happy with old Handsy Vancy hanging out with Erica Kirk. That is not the appropriate hug. There should be a little bit of distance right here, don't you think? And the hands, she's got her hands deep in his hair. You think she's lonely?
When our team asked my dear friend, Vice President J.D. Vance, to speak today, I really prayed on it because obviously it's a very emotional day, but I could just hear Charlie in my heart. I could just hear him say, go reclaim that territory, babe.
I wonder if this is the territory that Charlie was wanting her to reclaim. It's almost like she's got her lips on his neck. It would be old wild if old Handsy Vancy lost his wife to old trash Panda Patel. You can't help but fall in love with those eyes. I can't even imagine this being appropriate. Seems a little bit inappropriate. I don't know. What do y'all think about this? Do you think that Vice President Palantir was being inappropriate with the new widow? Because it hasn't even been 2 months yet. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Make sure you like and follow. And if you want to support, make sure you subscribe on Facebook.
Does anybody else think that J.D. Vance's first wife, Usha, has got to be looking for an exit plan after the last few days? As if it wasn't bad enough for the woman who was raised in a traditional Hindu home by Indian immigrant parents to have her husband go on national television and say that it's completely reasonable and acceptable for Americans to want to live next to people who are like them and speak their language. She then got to watch her husband put his hands all over the recently widowed Erica Kirk, who's clearly looking for another famous man in her life. And then he goes on stage and religiously shames his wife for not being Christian and tells the whole world that he hopes that she'll convert to Christianity and find the right path. And then at the same event, he ties immigration to assimilation. If you don't understand how that relates to the former statement about Usha Vance's traditional Indian and Hindu upbringing, I'm just curious. I don't know many women who would be okay with their husband going on stage and talking about them like that and then hugging another recently widowed woman the way that he did.
Usha, girly, your days as second lady may be numbered. And no, I'm not one of the people out here saying,
oh, they fucking, look at them spark.
I don't think they're having an affair. I don't think just because she was gripping the back of his neck that JD Vance is looking at her like she's a sectional. No. But these are two people really wanting power. They want power at all costs. They want to grow their power. Specifically when it comes to JD Vance, he wants the keys to the MAGA kingdom. And we learned real quick when Vivek hosted that Turning Point USA event and he was pelted with racism from MAGA because of the color of his skin and the fact that he's not a Christian. JD Vance even came out and said he wishes Usha would convert to Christianity because he knows that's going to be an issue with MAGA when he tries to take over. And when he looks at Erica Kirk, she is everything he needs in a second wife. And normally you'd think having a second wife would be a problem for real Christians. But since Donald Trump came around, no one apparently in MAGA cares how many wives you've had in the past.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erica Kirk. Because Erica Kirk and JD Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream. And you won't convince me otherwise. What is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erica Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in like their religious beliefs, and he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be a Christian nationalist just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
Hi, Ma, what's up? Did I see... Oh, yeah, no, I saw the video. Wait, okay, I just got it. Let me watch it. Wait, why is his hand... No, Ma, we're fine. Our marriage is JD, do you want to come say hi to my mom? She wants to make sure that we're fine. She just saw the Erica Kirk. She just saw she just saw her hand. She saw that. Okay, well his phone's he's on the phone with who's on the phone? Well, it's Erica, but Ma, it's professional. Like this is just, it's fine. No, our marriage is great. I mean, yeah. Really? I think I look the same. I don't... Oh, you're gonna go... Oh, he's meeting... Well, he's gotta go meet Erica for lunch.
JD Vance is accused of cheating on his wife with Erica Kirk.
What happened?
JD Vance was seen on stage inappropriately touching Charlie Kirk's wife because when she went in for a hug, they embraced each other really intimately. And she put her hand on the back of his head. His hands were on her lower back and moved to her waist.
Why would you hug her like that?
At first, it seemed innocent, but it was long and weird. And JD Vance's wife was in the crowd as well. Everybody was disgusted and weirded out at their hug because they looked at each other in the eyes for a long time and just stood there and then continued. Then JD Vance said he wished his wife was Christian and wasn't Hindu. Live while he was giving a speech to America.
Dissed his wife on stage?
Yeah! He was just making a comment. But it got even worse because when Erica Kirk went on stage, she said JD Vance reminds her a lot of Charlie Kirk and he shares a lot of the same attributes and qualities. And people started making weird faces that she would say that after hugging him like that. Now people are saying they don't trust her.
Who acts that way with a friend, especially in front of their partner?
That was the weird thing, because when JD Vance was on stage saying he wished his wife was Christian, she had her arms folded the whole time and she looked uncomfortable, but she was smiling. But then an old clip came up from another day of JD Vance saying to his wife, while he was giving a speech, she has to smile no matter what he said. And now people think JD Vance is preparing to divorce her. This is all alleged.
I mean, how can we expect loyalty out of him when he can't even be loyal to his own country?
So she flew cross country. She introduced J.D. Vance at University of Mississippi, and they both got a hero's welcome. Let me just show you the lines to get in. All right, Turning Point put this out, and you can see the people lining up. It's raining too, which really shows how badly they wanted to get in there. You know, it's like, it's tough to ask people to stand in a line all day. They've got their ponchos, they've got their umbrellas. It seems to go for miles and miles and miles. Andrew Colvert, the EP of Charlie's show, was reporting online yesterday that half of the students at the University of Mississippi applied for tickets. They were free, but half of all students at the university tried to get into this thing. And then on top of that, another 13,000 adults and faculty and so on. So look at this. Just for the listening audience, we're still showing the line. It's still going for all the time I've been talking. My God, there's no end to it. You can see the enthusiasm for Turning Point, for our sitting vice president, and of course for beautiful, sweet, sensitive Erica. Erica, there's video of her behind the stage, and she's wearing, for the listening audience, jeans and a white Freedom t-shirt like Charlie had on when he died. And they did something. Turning Point is very sophisticated on its productions and clever in the use of its tape. And they did something that I'm sure they got her blessing for. They used Charlie's voice to introduce Erica to the stage, obviously from an earlier appearance of hers. Can we play that with the sound, you guys? Do we have that?
Next speaker is a very, very special speaker, and she has had a heroic last.
Wow. Got tears in my eyes just watching that. You could see her just drop her arms to her side and take in the enormity of the crowd who had gathered there before her.
I've waited for a Hot Pocket to cool down longer than Erica Kirk mourned her husband. I am so disappointed in myself that I did not come up with this burn. And I get that people mourn in different ways, but trying to become the next First Lady is a new one for me. And the other day, I made a video about how Usha Vance seems to be aging very quickly during this last 9 months that they've been in office. I'm sure that it has to be pretty tough considering that J.D. Vance keeps sticking up for white supremacists. And I'm sure that she has probably heard a lot of hateful comments since she's become second lady. And Vance knows that if he's wanting to be president someday, that this is probably not going to fly very well with his base. He has a brown wife and mixed race children, which to a bunch of white supremacists, that is a huge no-no. But if he had a newly single Aryan conservative lady on his arm, that might be a little different for him. Because very little happens by accident in politics. This was planned. This is not a hug. A hug is around the waist. This is intimate. To all the MAGA women, would you be okay if you saw a woman hugging your husband like this? I don't think you would. The thing about it is, though, is I don't even think this would help JD. He's kind of a charismatic black hole. He doesn't have that it factor that MAGA loves. Even when he tries to play tough guy, it's like you were handed a cone of sherbet when you were wanting ice cream. Republicans know that this is almost over and they have to find their next meal ticket fast. And I just don't see it being J.D. Vance. I don't see anybody excited about J.D. Vance. And if you have somebody in your family that acts like they're really excited about J.D. Vance, ask them what J.D. stands for and see if they know, because I bet they don't. I mean, we on the left know that it stands for janky dish rag, but they don't know that.
Welcome back, guys, and I hope you guys have actually seen all of that clip. Then please, as a married woman that you're watching this video, let me know if that was the right way or if that is the right way to actually hug another person's husband, not even another person's husband alone. If that is the right way to actually hug another man as a married woman. Anyway, someone actually called her Mrs. Deceased. Honestly, Americans, you will not kill me, right? Then let me know as a man, right? If you love your wife to actually hug another man's like that, especially another married man. And that is why a lot of people are actually bringing a lot of speculations that, as far as they are concerned, Jennifer's wife should start filing for divorce because they are secret lovers and they are preparing to be president and first lady after the orange man. Anyways, I don't know how true that is, but as far as I'm concerned, that position was really, really horrible. And coupled with the fact that she have to now say, oh, nobody can actually replace my husband. But there is this person, I see my husband in him. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it didn't really, there is nothing that happened in that live show that actually sits well with me. And I know that these people actually love to get attention. That is one thing I've noticed. They really love to get attention. They want people to be like, what is happening? They want people to always talk about them because that is what I've actually noticed. That like that is who these people are. But in an actual sense, every single thing about that show was wrong. As someone that is even still mourning her husband, coming out dressed up like this, I know some people will actually come for me in the comment section and be like, yeah, people mourn differently. I know that people mourn differently, but this is someone that you said you love. This is someone, the father of your kids. I don't get how people do things. This is the father of your children. You lost someone, for crying out loud. You did not just lose a best friend, or let me even say you did not just lost your parents. You lost your beloved husband, someone that the both of you have kids together, someone that your children always call daddy, someone that has actually made your name to be out there, because I believe that most people that know you today is because of this man, made you a wife. You see, that is what I said from the onset when I saw that particular video in Charlie Kirk's funeral where the wife actually came out to be like, oh, I forgive him. I forgive the person that pupiled my husband. If he was here, he would have also forgive the person. He is a Christian. This is what he will allow. I was like, this is drama. Are you kidding me for real? You took one of my eyes out and I should just forgive you like that? I don't support violence. But if I claim that I love my husband, if I claim that this man means everything to me, I can't just forgive someone that just pupiled him just like that on his funeral, just to prove that, yes, you are Mrs. Right, you are Mrs. Forgiveness. Why, if you check vividly the last time, these said people that quote themselves as Christians and they serve God, they serve the Almighty God, 99% of them are doing the wrong thing. Check all the lives of people that have started doing all these podcasts like Charlie Kirk, or check all the lives of these pastors that came out and be like, hello, how dare you judge Charlie? He is a man of God. He is this. He is just airing out his free speech. One was just taken for child molestation. Another one was just taken for child rape. All of them. So you want to make me believe that he's a Christian. That's why you're just coming from above as a savior to just forgive him just like that. Okay, so he made you cry, but his own family should be happy and receive him with both hands. Every single thing is not wrong as far as I'm concerned. I'm not happy with this type of hug. This type of hug is not in my dictionary. As a married woman, I'm not saying you should not hug. Don't even come for me and be like, that is Africa, this is America. There are some Americans that really, really love to respect their husband, and it doesn't take any single thing for you to put a crown on a man's head. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we'll have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, and share. And yes, with no further ado, I'd like to say in my videos, I'm going to be saying back and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.